Hello, everyone. This is Sam Ridgway, and here we are with another episode of Tales from the Crypto with our resident guru, Cameron Sykes. Cameron, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sammy. How are you?
I'm excellent, excellent. Thanks for asking. Today, we're going to go over the market in general, and then we're going to maybe talk about a coin that Cameron would say, out all the craziness that's going on, one that might still be a decent pick. And then I think Cameron's doing some research, reading a book that kind of bleeds into maybe sort of um, things that could happen as we bring in the technology age. So we're going to talk about that as well. But first, I guess, Cameron, we're going to start off with how the shitty market's doing. Go ahead. And
Yeah,
why? Why is an important reason? Go ahead.
absolutely. All right, I'm going to start off with our disclaimer just so we cover asses a bit, then I'll get into the market. So this is a show intended to entertain and educate our viewers. This is not investment advice. This show should never be used as the primary basis of investment decisions, nor should it be construed as a solicitation or advice designed to meet the particular investment needs of any specific investor. Please do your own research and come to your own conclusions. No information should be interpreted or to state or imply that past results are any indication of future performance. Okay, so here we go. The markets have been, choppy as fuck. We're not sure what's going on here. A lot of power, a lot of things, macro factors affecting it. So let's get into that. So U.S. inflation jumps to a fresh four-decade high of 8.5% in March. But what does that even mean for us? So the Fed aims to combat inflation by selling bonds back in the market. This will increase yields, making borrowing more expensive and making the money supply scarcer, so deflationary. This leads to less speculating and investing, which isn't great news for equities or crypto. Unfortunately, the Fed really isn't concerned with your stocks or growing portfolio of digital assets. They're concerned with credit and preventing a possible contagion in the corporate bond markets. Wait, what? So back in March 2020, the COVID crash, the Fed essentially nationalized the U.S. corporate credit markets by backstopping BBB rated companies, preventing the corporate borrowing markets from being completely frozen. Okay, so what now? But call it a hunch. But tightening global liquidity may lead to a deep short-term correction in equities, with highly correlated crypto markets leading the way until the situation gets so dire that investors will have no choice but to hedge with crypto. And then we'll see Bitcoin and Ethereum rebounding before the Fed ultimately loosens policy and causing equities to start showing signs of life again, and they'll rebound and follow in Bitcoin and Ethereum's wake. And so basically right now it's just kind of rough. There's really high correlation between crypto and equities, specifically like the NASDAQ 100. And yeah, there's just so many things going on right now.
Everything down. I watch the crypto market. Here's what happens with me. When the crypto starts tanking, I just don't even look at it because why are you going to look at something that you're like, oh, it's down again, right? And I know that we keep saying this, but there was a period of time where it started going back up, right?
Yeah.
And things were looking great, and then all of a sudden it turned around and just started plummeting back down for the reasons that you're talking about. But I don't really look at the crypto market when it's at the bottom. And I certainly don't look at like the NASDAQ and the rest of it. So how are stocks doing in general? Are they down as well?
Nothing's doing good. Nothing's doing good. It's just been, equity markets are down, and because now with these Bitcoin futures ETFs, we're getting Wall Street being able to speculate the price on Bitcoin without actually having skin in the game. And so there's basically a really high correlation between these and the high crypto and the high growth tech. And so really crypto should be a hedge because it's not denominated like it's going to increase in value better than the dollar, and so it's a better alternative than equities, especially in an inflationary market. And so right now there is that correlation, but I think we're probably going to see a big steep correction in equities, and it's going to get to a point where that's going to punch through and basically decorrelate crypto, and we're going to start seeing more money move into the space as a hedge against all the stuff that's going on in the equity markets. And that's when we'll start to see the big rallying. But until then, it's going to be hard to get, really any crazy gains on, any of these different tokens right now. But if you're going to do anything, I would try to bet on probably what you consider blue chips. And who I'm probably the most bullish on, even in this environment, would probably be either Avalanche or Luna. And at this point, I'm probably even leaning more towards Avalanche, just from the standpoint that, Luna was planning on to add 10 billion of Bitcoin to its reserves to strengthen it. And they're also buying around 200 million worth of Avalanche. And so if anything, it's out of any coin in the entire world, Luna had to choose from to add to their reserves. The two that they chose were Bitcoin and Avalanche. And so if anything, that's more telling about the quality of Avalanche and the project that they have going on than anything. And they've obviously been really strong. They have great tokenomics. And I think, right now, they're probably your safest bet. But I don't see any crazy gains until, the Fed and everything that's going on in the world right now gets more squared away.
I think this is a testament to the whole take profit thing that we preach. For example, EGLD, I think it is. I was up $5,000-$6,000 on that 3 weeks ago. I'm like, oh, this thing is going crazy. I didn't take any profits because, of course, I get greedy, right? Always get greedy, and I should have. And now I'm down to like $2,000, right? So once stuff comes up and it breaks out of this and starts going up, you have a decent profit margin that you have. I mean, take some money off the table. Take that profit, because you don't make any money until you sell it. Now, you don't lose any money until you sell it either, but you don't make any money until you sell something. Because, again, $5,000 up, now I'm $2,000 down. I mean, that's a huge difference. That's a $7,000 spread. I should have just cashed out when it was good. So anyway, just as the thing goes and it's volatile, take your profits. I mean, how many times have I said that Bitcoin's going to go up like it did? What was it, 48? It just kept going up or whatever. And I was like, okay, this is when it goes up sharply, it's a lot of times going to come down, right? Just sharply. I was like, I need to take some profits out of this, because I bought when it was like way down there. But I didn't. But it continuously, Bitcoin goes up, hits these things where people think it's going to go great, and then it just plummets down. I need to have the self-discipline, as do a lot of other people, to sell, not all of it, but to sell enough to get a decent profit out of it when it does that, and then buy it back because you know it's going to go back down. You know it is. So anyway, I just wanted to say that because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't take profits, and they just sit there and they continue to just yo-yo with their money, and they never see any gains when there are gains to be had if you do it right.
No, absolutely. I completely agree with you there. But that pretty much gets it for the what's going on in the market. And so now I have some crypto in the headlines here. And so the first one we have is Bored Ape Yacht Club is getting a short film trilogy. So crypto exchange Coinbase just announced that it will produce a film trilogy based on Yuga Labs' Bored Ape Yacht Club. The creators of the Bored Ape Yacht Club will partner with Coinbase to produce this series of 3 animated short films. The series will be titled the Deegan Trilogy, after the slang term for crypto investors who are willing to make high-risk investments. The film trilogy will be shown at NFT NYC, a crypto conference scheduled to take place in New York between June 21st and 23rd. Later, the films will be made available to users who have opened a Coinbase wallet via Exchange's website. The film trilogy represents a joint effort between two of the biggest properties in the cryptocurrency and blockchain industry. Yuga Labs has seen several other developments as well in recent weeks. The firm has raised $450 million, it acquired CryptoPunks, and introduced a brand new ApeCoin cryptocurrency. So Bored Ape Yacht Club strikes again, another big week for them. And, I think they're definitely picking them up.
They do it right. I mean, look at how much publicity they get off of the stuff that they do. And obviously the publicity that they put out there just drives the price like through the roof. Okay, what would you figure that you were going to spend for one of the Bored Ape Yacht Club pieces NFTs right now?
I mean, you can't get those for under $200,000. I mean, the minimum is $200,000. I mean, it's crazy.
How many are there?
A couple thousand. So
there's limited supply. I mean, even a couple thousand. There's 7 billion people on this planet, so a couple thousand is still a very small supply.
Oh, very, very small. And I mean, and they're doing a lot of stuff. I mean, I saw there was a pop-up restaurant. I think it was out here in LA that was a Bored Ape Yacht Club burger joint. And so, because if you own one of these Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs, you get the IP for that individual character. And then you could just go use this branding for any of your businesses. And so that's starting to happen. And then the community goes and supports you and promotes that business. And so going from something that seemed kind of like a stupid, silly club, and you're kind of wondering how the hell are these people even making money? And now they're kind of turning into one of the most powerful forces in all of crypto. And it really is kind of crazy. It shows where things are going in this world right now. And I think some of that ties into some of the stuff that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But
Yeah, but you know, that success also breeds copycats, right? So as you look at the success of Board Ape Yacht Club, you can also anticipate that there's going to be other things that are come out to try to replicate that type of success and start things up where you could still get in at a ground floor level and ride it up like those people did with the Board Ape Yacht Club. I mean, the good thing is it's possible and you can see it. It's been proven that this strategy can work if done correctly. So even if you miss the boat on that one, there's going to be another one coming. Now, not everyone obviously comes out, and that's a good thing because otherwise it wouldn't be as good as it should be. But yeah, the next one that comes out, I mean, maybe you want to think about getting on that train when it's $5,000 instead. What did Board Ape Yacht Club come out with it to be when they first? Do you have any idea what it started off as?
they were selling for like, I think at their mint, it was like 0.05 ETH.
Really?
Yeah, it was like
$1,500.
yeah, like honestly maybe a couple hundred.
No. Oh yeah, a couple $100 would be 0.05. Yeah. I was thinking 0.5. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and now it's just insane. And this is over the span of just 1 year. And so those people who got in early, they're almost set for retirement now, because if you held that entire time, not only did the value of your NFT just go up drastically, but then you accrued X amount of ape coins, which they just released. And so just that in itself, like off the ape coins and just being listed on Coinbase, you probably made a couple $1 million right there.
Crazy.
So so there's a lot of big stuff going on with them, and who knows, maybe this time next week we'll be talking about something even crazier that they just announced. But got another one here for you. And Sony and the Lego family bet big on the metaverse with $2 billion investment in Epic Games. So Sony and Kirkby, the family behind the Legos, are investing $2 billion in Fortnite maker Epic Games. The deal, which is subject to customary closing conditions, would value Epic at $31.5 billion. And this comes after Epic and Lego announced plans to develop a family-friendly metaverse for kids. And so more money getting shot into the metaverse. I mean, $2 billion Epic Games just to go develop a kid-friendly metaverse. I mean, it's just insane.
On top of that, though, when you have kids, whatever the cool thing is, you go for it. Whatever the safe thing is, you go for it. If you could have a place where kids could go out there and entertain themselves while mom and dad were doing things, like you put it with the tablet or something today, but you could actually be immersed in a world as a kid, and mom and dad aren't worried about you seeing crazy stuff you shouldn't be seeing, or even on top of that, learning while you're doing that, immersed in this world. I mean, I could imagine that could actually go parabolic.
Oh, that could be huge. If you're able to create like a very safe, kid-friendly metaverse where they could go learn and not have to worry about just weirdos out there on the internet just trying to creep on your kids. I mean, that's a multi-billion-dollar idea right there in itself. That would be
selling shit, right? Like the toys that you could advertise, and I mean all of it. Like, how there are foods and so on. I mean, that's the world works with money, right? And let's not pretend like it doesn't. And to subtly integrate that into a free environment, I mean, you have to pay for it somehow. But if you could integrate those subtle things into a free environment where kids could be immersed in learning and safe and all the rest of those things, I think that's a valid trade-off. So anyway, I think that's a great idea.
No, absolutely. Okay. And lastly, just want to talk about this book, a great book I've been reading called The Sovereign Individual. And The Sovereign Individual is by James Dale Davidson and Lord William Rees-Mogg. And it attempts to predict the impact of society's transition to the information age and what it means for humanity. It was originally published in 1997, and the authors have predicted the effects and implication of the world's transition with a surprising degree of accuracy. The book details strategies necessary for adapting financially to the next phase of Western civilization. So according to the authors, we're at the precipice of the fourth stage of human history. The first three stages were hunter-gatherer societies, agricultural societies, industrial societies, and now we're moving into the informational societies. And so within these stages of human societies, there are other cycles, right? And so the author contends that the most prominent of these is a 500-year cycle in Western civilization that dramatically upends old systems. So some of those were the rise of Greek democracy, the rise of Christianity, the fall of the Roman Empire, the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, and now basically moving into the internet and modern technology. And so basically one of the biggest predictions of the book was the demise of the modern nation state. So basically it says that the rise of e-commerce, cryptocurrency, and other tech innovations will diminish the ability for the government to tax and rule, leading to the collapse of the nation state and the transformation of sovereignty. So the invention of the internet and everything else that follows it is going to affect nation states, countries, where democratization and decentralization of information, commerce, business, and finance in the cyber realm will ultimately weaken borders and undermine the power of the government and their ability to tax, essentially. So the book mostly framed a sovereign individual as someone who is ultra wealthy and they're able to escape unfair taxes. But I feel the basic premise is pursuing location independence. And so by putting everyone online, you're no longer bound to your physical locations. And because of the declining power of nation states to be able to tax individuals, sovereignty won't necessarily be based on location, but it's going to be different types of groups in which you can associate with online. So like kind of what these DAOs are doing, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, essentially you won't be a citizen of the United States. They think you're going to essentially be a citizen of one of these DAOs. And so in this instance, for example, you'd be a citizen of the Bored Ape Yacht Club. And so despite the fact that you're located over here, it's not your group isn't bound to a specific geographic region. You're spread all over the place, essentially, and you live to rules that are defined by that organization itself. And so I kind of really foreshadow some crazy stuff going on. And I think we're really seeing a lot of these beginning stages of this transition happening right now in society.
I think that that's extremely valid, especially in the area of robotics, because as we get the whole robotics thing and AI specifically coming in to where I don't have to clean my house anymore, nobody has to do anything in the fields anymore. My whatever I want gets just put into packages by robots. I mean, it gets shipped by all of the meaningless tasks, a lot of the workforce that people do on more of a just a everyday, just repetitive type tasks could all be taken over by machines, which is going to free up a lot of time for human beings to do other things, even to cooking a meal. You could have robots make your meals and stuff like that and actually deliver them to you. Like the whole entire life as you know it would change from, I guess, a time distribution perspective where I have to go to work for no, you don't, because there's no need for that anymore. All these things are happening and you're doing other things. So I think that it definitely could with AI, with robotics and so on, and cryptocurrencies where I can pay somebody somewhere else. I don't have to worry about these exchange fees. I don't have to worry about a bank and a middleman taking, 5 people in between taking cuts. I can pay just somebody, in South Africa if I want to. I go to a store. I know how much 0.006 Bitcoin is. I don't have to, how much is that in lira or rubles or whatever the case may be. Everybody knows exactly what stuff costs. So I think it definitely would move to a global economy, which again, if the robotics and so on are there, then you're probably going to have those fighting your wars. So you're going to have all these other things, which it's not necessarily a human condition anymore. It's who has the best intelligence for the AI and the rest. So anyway, all of that stuff comes down to then what are you really a member of? What nation are you really a member of? Because there really isn't a nation. So I understand where the book's going, and I could conceivably see where this could definitely happen.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's good. People won't, we're already seeing people work remotely now, but ultimately everyone's good. As long as you have an internet connection, everyone has the ability to go be an entrepreneur and make money in crypto. And that's not just necessarily investing, but I think there's so much money going in the play to earn space that I think most of these people 10 years from now are going to be just playing Axie Infinity or just blockchain based games for a living. And so as long as you have an internet connection, you can go and take care of yourself. And you're not you don't need to rely on, Social Security, welfare, any of that stuff. It makes people completely self-reliant, self-sufficient. And because you're getting paid in these native tokens within this game, it makes it harder to tax. And so you're less bound to the confines of, the laws of that country. And you're kind of more abiding towards the laws and the social system of the metaverse. Or the organizations in which you're working with playing these games. You know, you're more of a citizen of the Bored Ape Yacht Club than you would be of the United States of America at that point. And so it's really changing.
You're going to need that because you won't need truck drivers, right? Trucks will drive themselves from point A to point B. You won't need people in factories. Machines would be making them. You don't need in restaurants. The cook could be totally. Have you seen the pizza places where the whole entire thing is totally automated? You just choose it. It goes in and makes the whole entire thing for you. The little robot that comes out on the gurney sort of thing with your food, stops right at the table. You take the food off. I mean, there's going to be a lot of jobs as technology and AI gets better and better that are just going to go away. There'll be no need for them. So these people are going to have to find other things to do to make a living. And the pay to play, like gaming thing, is perfect. Just one example of where you could go and make a very good living. Because right now, one of the thing is there are people in these impoverished countries doing the pay to play. All they need is a internet connection, making a month's worth of a salary in a day.
Oh yeah.
Games. I mean, that's happening right now. That's not some.
That's happening in the Philippines right now. The Philippines government is trying to figure out how to tax Axie Infinity games. So it's crazy. And ultimately, if you believe in that book, all these attempts to tax and regulate are basically going to fail. And so what's going to emerge is an entirely new type of society that an organization sovereignty and just a different world in general than the one that we've grown accustomed to. So it's crazy.
Because even with the infrastructure, even with that, I mean, as technology gets better and better, things break less and less. Energy becomes something that maybe you're splitting an atom and you have this nuclear reactor in a vehicle of some sort, that you don't have to stop at the gas station anymore. It's like nuclear. I mean, all of the things are going to happen and things are going to break less and less, need less maintenance. Machines have the rest of it. They're just giving so much free time for people to do other things as we get into this more and more. I bet you 50 years from now, look at how far, I mean, I'm 55. I was there when computers started. I learned to program using punch cards and put them into an IBM mainframe. If you dropped the cards, you were screwed. That's what I did at the beginning. And technology has just come so fast just in my lifetime. I mean, it was probably from the time I was 18 until now at 55. Imagine at the speed that it's going with all of the other people on the technology bandwagon, with getting into that field. Imagine in the next 50 years where it's going to go. It's just going to exponentially increase as we go along.
It's going to be fucking nuts. It's going to be nuts, but exciting.
We're about 23 minutes right now. I love doing these things. I love just talking about stuff and bringing in new ideas. But let's keep this one about 23 minutes. Cool. And again, Cameron, thank you for all the insight and so on, and bringing up topics that we can discuss and actually, discussing things that people would be interested in. Hopefully next week when we come back, we can talk about the market and how good it's getting and how it's come out of the slump. But like you said, there's Ukraine, there's inflation, there's all of the feds. I mean, all of these things are factoring in where it's just a mess, right? So there's really nothing you can predict right now or go off of. You kind of got to just sit back and just let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, not much you can do. Just be patient and try to make the smart decisions.
That's right. All right, Cameron. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much for another great episode, and we'll talk next Wednesday.
My pleasure. Talk to you soon, Sam.
Or Thursday, or whatever day. Talk to you later. Bye.